In today's podcast, Michael and Jay share their top 6 ways to uplevel your business. So if you need any inspiration to create or expand your business more effortlessly right now, this is it. This is Music, Spirit and Accountability with Michael Cooper and Jay Hode. So today I'm very, very excited about this topic, brother. We got 6 simple ways to uplevel your business. And our mission is we're just going to maybe do a little ping pong style of the 6 most important things to uplevel our business. And now we've just put about 2 minutes each into feeling into what this was. So we wanted it to be spontaneous and creative and in the current, like everything we do. So for you, brother, first, what's the first simple way that you would uplevel your business or advice you give?
Very first thing I would create is time.
Time.
It's the one thing we don't have enough of. How do we create time? See, a lot of people go out there and they look for revenue. They'll go and get more clients. They'll get more products to sell. And all they're doing is basically staying in launch mode at that point. I've got this product. I need this thing. Let me send it out there. We get this lumpy bit of cash and that feels great. And then a week later, all that money's gone and I'm back in the same loop of being broke again. So if you want to scale your business, create time. How do we create time? We create that with systems. So it's really important that we do have these launch periods. However, what's more important is that we can cultivate leads. We can cultivate ways that people can come to us, or the way that they can work with us. And how can we buy back more time and get paid when we're not actually doing some form of transaction, when we're not doing exchanging time for money?
Yeah.
And that's our system, so our back office stuff.
That's literally what I'm spending my whole year creating this year. And the thing that I have written all over my desk is do no longer exchange time for money. That's the priority.
Absolutely. And that's how you scale your business. Yeah. You know, if we're in the healer archetype, which is I'm a therapist or I'm a sound healer or I'm a breathwork facilitator, whatever it is, the healer archetype is the person who sits with the patient. They see the results, they see the transformation, they see the change. And at the end of the hour, they get $60 or $70 for that. But you can only do that so many times a week before you burn out. And so the healer archetype is constantly in a state of chasing new leads, chasing new purchases, a lot of effort to acquire business. And they get paid predominantly not in cash, they get paid in the feeling of making change. And so what we want to do is scale our archetype up so that we can change the archetype that we operate in.
Yeah.
And there's 3 more levels above that point. When your reach becomes, I don't get to see the change, I don't get to see the healing, I don't get to see any of the instant gratification, but my students or my pupils are out there and the ripple effect is like 1,000,000 times more because I've got 100 people that I've trained, and this is at the mentor coach level where I've created my own methodology, like the Jay Hode Music School. You have your own methodology of teaching. Now, if you brought on 4 or 5 other people that you taught that methodology to, that's 6 of you out there now reaching vast number of people. But Jay doesn't actually get to see the benefit of these students growing in music. He just knows that it's happening. And it'll come back vicariously, third party through him. Oh yeah, I went through the Jay Hode Music School. Oh, wow. Not through me, but through someone else.
Yeah.
And that's how we can scale our business, when we change our archetype.
Beautiful, brother. All right, my first one is do what you love. That's what came up for me. Do what you love. So for me, that's such an important one. Being what's in the current of what you love and trusting that the rest will come. Now, there's a lot of hard work that's often involved in that. For me, what I love is music, and I love coaching, and I love having those kinds of juicy conversations with people. I love chocolate, and I've combined all of those things in my world in an incredible way. And I think with music, I'm going to use maybe music as the example, because for me, that's my passion. Like the one thing that I, often actually get paid for is playing music, right? Or there's an exchange of, let's say not even get paid for, but I get that exchange of energy, which is getting paid for. Is my playing of music, and that's what I love to do the most. Whereas there's all the other behind the scenes stuff, all the paperwork and all the practice and the years and years and years of doing it that I didn't get paid for. But it's funny because the thing that there's that exchange of money for is actually the thing that I love doing the most, which fills my heart with joy every time.
And I think that happens a lot. You know, they who are they? There's a saying out there that, you know, do what you love and you don't work a day.
Yeah.
It's not work, it's your passion, it's your purpose, it's what you were put here to do. The fact that you do well, the fact that you're so passionate means you get compensated very well for it. But
Yes.
at the same point, you would probably do it for free.
It is, and the thing that's the problem with this again is that exchange of time for money, which is what all the course creating and finding that niche is this year and last year and the year before, to be able to create a wealth of traffic to flow in an automated way. So there's been so many pieces of the puzzle that have had to come together to create the success of what I'm launching over the next 12 months. So super excited about that. But yes, doing what you love, that's my number one.
So I'm going to dovetail a different point onto that,
Yeah.
sort of flowing in with what you just said. So on top of building systems, do what you love. And one of the other points I had, which was further down the list, but it tied in with what you just said, was build evergreen products.
Mm.
So that while you're sleeping, you might wake up in the morning and get a notification that, hey, such and such just bought your program for $97, or such and such just bought your program for $500 while you were sleeping. And so these evergreen products are assets that are built into the business that can be basically your employees for you. They can go out and work for you while you're having a holiday or while you're resting. And that's a lot of what
100%.
you've been doing this week. So do you want to elaborate? Sorry, this year. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Well, yeah, I mean, I may as well go into my number two now because you've just set it up so well. My number two thing was automations. So, again, six simple ways to uplevel your business. My number two is automations. And that is basically exactly what you just said. And that's a very rewarding one in particular that you brought up, Mike, is having automations that inspire you to create more tomorrow. Like there's nothing like seeing $97 or $997 roll into your bank while you were sleeping to inspire you the next day to get up and create something again. You know, not that you necessarily need that, but it definitely doesn't hurt.
Mm,
So automations again with email sequences, with yeah, all the things like Zapier and programs like that that are just
mm,
phenomenal and now integrated with a lot of these systems. So with me using these huge funnel programs this year, where the courses are automated with the email sequences and they're integrated with the sales and they're integrated with the copyright and they're integrated with the next, and I could elaborate more, but automations in and getting efficient. Now, I think the big problem with this is as your business expands, the changes happen so quickly. So before you know it, there's a new thing created that you need to do that you didn't even know was something that was going to have to be done. And then from that comes
mm.
two more things that then are created that now have to be done, maybe even done by someone else because you don't have the time to do it. So then you've got to train those people to do that. Then you've got to see, iron out the kinks and then get that automation happening ideally. So I think the principle is do what you need to do to get those automations implemented as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And funnels is a big one of those, because funnels are basically your sales staff who are selling for you, which is you selling for you again while you sleep. And it's not bound by time, nor is it bound by space. So
Yeah.
we're working now with universal law that I can be omnipresent, I can be anywhere, I can have my website or this landing page with a guy in Australia viewing it at the same time a guy in America is viewing it and buying the same product for different reasons.
100%. Yep. And then, we open the can of worms with like, targeting locations, interests, all those things, and getting really on point with the niche. The niche probably should have been on my list, but without the niche, a lot of it can be wasted too. So always looking for that niche. But yeah.
I think another one for that we both believe in, because we embody this. Not only are we coaches and do we guide people in their path of our chosen fields, but we believe in our own education. So my next one will be getting a coach,
Yeah.
because you can only see what you see. You can only see what you're conscious to. What's the unconscious patterning? Why am I acting a certain way? Why am I not launching this product? What is my fear? What is my nervous system not being able to regulate? Do I have a block around a certain level of income? And you can't see that. And that's why you need someone to look in who is not attached, not, is impartial to your business, but has the best interest of driving your business forward. And I find that every time I go into a coaching space, there's usually a level of initiation that comes with that, because it's like, oh, okay, it's a big hit, but that level of initiation calls you into a high level of playing, and you show up even more because you're like, I'm invested now. I've dropped 25, 50 grand onto this guy, person, woman, man or woman. And there's some amazing coaches on both sides of the genders that I'm here. I am going to milk everything from this. And guess what? Success happens not because of the coach, because you got invested.
And it seems like such a crazy thing to invest, $25,000 in a coach or something. But, just remember, guys, the flip side of that is, what if that coach can make you millions of dollars? Or, as a conversation that I've had with someone recently about them from their coaching saving someone like 20 plus million dollars from something that they said.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool, man. Like, you think $25,000 is a lot of money. Yeah, damn straight it is. But if they're going to make you millions of dollars or save you millions of dollars, if you're already making millions and millions of dollars, then that's the kind of things we're talking about here. It's exceptional.
I always ask someone when they hesitate, what is the cost of inaction?
Yeah.
What's the cost of you staying stuck? You're already unproductive. You're already losing time. You're already losing money. What is the
Mm.
cost of you staying that way? Because if you've got 9 or 10 staff, I can tell you that the way you're operating is exactly the way they're operating. They will be reflecting back to you your inadequacies or the things you don't own about yourself.
Yeah.
So if you've got the cost of your inaction is maybe 50 to 100 grand, multiply that by the 10 staff that you've got, and it's costing you anywhere up to $1 million for you to stay right where you are.
Yeah. Yeah, that
Ouch.
really landed, brother. That really landed. Thank you for sharing that. I love that.
Mm.
Mm.
What's your next point, brother?
So where are you up to in your list, man? What are you up?
I don't know. We got like a couple out already. You're up. You're next. You're
Okay, I'm
next.
next. All right, I'm on number three then. Be around inspiring people. Be around
Mm,
inspiring people. So I think that's huge. I always have that kind of thing in the back of my mind of 33, 33, 33. So be around people that
mm,
like don't inspire you. People be around like 33%, be around 33 that are on the same level as you, so to speak, however you want to interpret that, and 33 that are like crazy inspiring. And that's just a general consensus. But I also feel there's plenty of learning in those 33% that are sort of wanting to be like you, and there's not that desire to necessarily be like them in some sense.
mm.
So there's always such a gift in that. I always say, even just simplifying it to a musician, like I've learnt equally as profound things from the guitarist sitting on the beach in Fiji that knows how to play three chords really badly and doesn't know what the names of them are or how to play his instrument at all, as I have from the guy that has the doctorate in music. So the lessons are always beautiful learnings to be learnt, but that rule of the 33, 33, 33 is great. But yeah, being around inspiring people, it's pretty much part of why we had this podcast was to be around each other more and have that accountability to show up for each other, because we always get so inspired by talking to each other and lit up. It's creating new things. So that's one.
I find that interesting too, mate, that you reference that point, because even though we talk quite regularly throughout the week in our own personal space, plus in this space, you're constantly on my mind as a reference point. What would Jay do? What is Jay doing?
Same.
How is he doing this? How would he react in this or not react in this way? What would he say in this space? And that's that birds of a feather flock together. So people that we inspire each other, which is to bring life to each other, inspiration to
Yeah.
inspire, to give life to, is it's omnipresent for me. You're always there in my thoughts,
Mm.
because you're that compass, that true north for me. And
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, what would Jay do? And then act on that because I trust in that. So I
Mm.
really align with having those people around you that resonate deeply with your values, where you're headed, and who you want to become.
Thank you, brother. I love hearing that. It never gets old. And I think, yeah, just to sum that up too, be around people that inspire you, but also to add a bit onto that, what you just said, people that you trust in
Mm.
their energy to, like what you just said, what would they do? And yeah, that feels good because I don't know exactly why, but I trust them and I trust their energy for whatever reason. So that feels good to make that decision.
we've often referenced the mind, the heart, the animal, and the gut in intimate relationships, but that carries through all relationships. And I have this deep inner knowing in my gut to trust Jay. Like I trust his word, I trust um, his presence, I trust in what he imparts is always in my highest alignment.
Mm.
And so, that I guess the archetype of those things that we gravitate towards in an intimate relationship transcends all relationships.
Absolutely, and I feel like a lot of these six things that we're both, these six ways we've come up with, they're all really intertwining. I can hear some of the things that I'm coming to say shortly are going
Mm.
to entwine with what you just said. So you're up, brother. What's next?
Yeah, I think it's not an if or, it's a this and that.
This
It's
and
all of
that.
them.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
all of them. So another one I've got is to build assets that you can leverage.
Okay.
So an example of that would be a lot of people sit down and they do one thing and then they throw it in the bin. But how can I create something that I can use as a free giveaway and then use it as a form of marketing and then use it as a form of lead generation? Now, I've sat down and I've done one thing for an hour, but then I've used it 3 or 7 different ways. And so, an example of that would be I'd create a masterclass and it's a free masterclass. So, I invite everyone into the masterclass, and that's my lead generation for that point. And they get to experience me live. So, I've done a number of touch points it this way. But then I record the masterclass. But in the masterclass, there was a slide kit. And in that slide kit is the content that I can put out to social media to show, hey, this is some of my method. This is how we get the results we get. And so I might have sat down for an hour to do the presentation and an hour to do the slide kit, but I've got content for the next year. Now, if someone arrives 2 years from now and they say, hey, I really want to work with you, well, I'll send them that recorded masterclass and say, well, not until you've watched this and you understand what I'm about. And so this is again about buying back more time. How can I create assets that I can use multiple times in multiple different ways for different agendas?
Yeah, brother, 100%. That is, yeah, so good, and yeah, again, it's just so good to hear that being said. Like I know these things, and I literally do these things that you're speaking of, but there's something about hearing it again right now that's really landing for me and going to inspire some amazing things.
Mm.
So thank you. It's amazing how we hear and we learn so quickly, but we also learn to forget so quickly.
Yes,
Um,
there's so many things to do.
Yeah, I hear so many coaches saying, that that energy of creating is one thing, and then it's really the energy on launching and committing to continuing to share that thing that is actually really the work. And I really resonate with that so much. I see so many people. Again, it's not a bad thing because this is a great way to learn, but you probably get to the point at some point where you take on these words a little bit more seriously, in that it's beautiful to create the most incredible masterpiece, but the energy of creating the masterpiece, I would say, is really 5 to 10%, of getting that masterpiece out to the people, because the other 90% is spending all that time once you created the masterpiece to launch it and to share it. And obviously that could be totally wrong, and there's that beautiful spiritual view, maybe that everything will happen as it's meant to be, and you don't need to worry about those things. It'll just happen. Just trust in the universe. Just trust in the universe. Create your magic, and the rest will just fly. It's never really worked for me. There could be a shadow in there for me to work on too, but for me, it's always been that 5 to 10% of creating, and then the rest is actually launching and ongoing maintenance and love to support and nurture that 5 or 10% creation. That's what everyone sees, is that thing.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I believe you still need to show up.
Yeah.
You know, that the first version where, I believe in the universe and I have all these good intentions and I got positive thinking and this is all going to happen for me is spiritual bypassing.
Yeah.
It's the only time anything has any value of it is when we bring our spirit to it and we put our hands to it and we actually, because we are the living force, we are the life force that gives these things energy. Otherwise, they're just bits of pixels on a screen. And so It's like building a house. Without the builder, the house will not be built. And the minute the builder walks away, everyone goes, a house is an asset. No, it's a depreciating asset. It loses value every single day. Well, it sits in the sun and the sun rots it. The only time that house goes back in value is when the builder comes back and he paints the walls and he changes the carpets and he redoes the bathrooms. And then it goes up in value again. Why? Because we put our hands on it. And then the minute he walks away from it, it goes back to devaluing itself.
That's right.
So it's exactly the same thing. We need to show up. We need to present, which is actually one of my points, is to constantly show up. Constantly show up. Like you and I went to a networking event the other week. I got kids, you got family. It was a big effort for you. It was a full day trip to come across.
Yeah.
And we still do these things. We still have to show up, because whatever I just sit there and sing Kumbaya and this is all going to work out for me, all the positive intentions in the world is not going to happen if I don't show up and work.
Just had this mental picture of you singing Kumbaya.
Kumbaya.
Very cool.
I probably need to remember the words.
I bet you could belt that out. Beautiful, brother. I love that. All right. So keep inspiring things in your field. So I said before, be around inspiring people. That's, I guess, an inspiring thing. But what I mean by that is podcasts. I mean, books, audio books, maybe social media too. It's not something that really works for me. Often it's more of a distraction, but it serves a purpose at times. But that's probably not where I would go for that. But that's just my story. But yeah, keeping those inspiring things in your field and going out of your way to keep them implemented. Like, it only takes 5 minutes a day. I just have this thing that, I'm always saying, just 5 minutes a day. 5 minutes a day of keeping that one thing in my field. I can almost go to any, out of the people that inspire me, that I really resonate with, I can go to any of their kind of podcasts or books and almost throw a dart at a dartboard, and wherever it hits, it's going to be pretty good. And often I'll hit the perfect spot that gives me that exact juice and download that I need for that 3 minutes or 5 minutes to shape some incredible creation or project as that day or as that week or as that year goes on. So keep inspiring things in your field.
I love that. I broke down social media podcasts in a way a little bit like, I'll just pull it apart for you. So to me, when we go to social media, it's mind numbing. I'm losing time and I'm losing value to low vibrational frequency entertainment. It is there's so many untruths in the social media of people projecting their greatest life, which is not really true. However, with a podcast, we are really, truly entertained. Now, you've studied, what is it now? How many years have you been playing for?
Oh, a lot.
A lot.
35,
Let's not give you away your age.
Yeah, so many, it's becoming an uncomfortable question. It's almost like, I'm that old. Yeah, no, it is 40 years. I'm 43 now, so
Yep.
Started when I was 4, so coming up 40 years.
40 years. So you've been a master of this for nearly 30 of those years, because you went through and you studied and done your university degrees as a teenager. So it's taken you 30 years to get to this level of mastery. When Jay writes a book, when Jay writes a course, when he does his teachings, you're actually getting 30 years worth of mastery condensed into fast tracking you. So when we look at those three things, I could sit on social media and lose my, basically kill some of my brain cells. I could listen to a podcast with Jay and get entertained by this 1 hour or 30-minute or 40-minute snippet of his 30 years. And then I can sit with him and read one of his books, or I could do one of his courses. And at this point, I'm getting the full breadth of his knowledge in the most succinct and defined way. And so when I try and break down my consumption in that way, when I look at it and I think, well, do I want to be mindless or do I be mindful? And at that point, I want to go and read the book, because it took you 30 years to read this book and master this topic and condense it down to 500 odd pages.
Yeah.
And at that point, probably the next level on that is to sit with you for a 5-day retreat and then really dive into it with you experientially and have an experience. And that's when it's going to really bed into my DNA. But at least on a daily level, I look at my consumption as podcast first, as a while I'm training or something like where I'm just looking for the entertainment there. And then if I really want to study in depth with this, what is this man's knowledge? What
Mm.
can he actually impart with 30 years worth in a book? That's where I'm going to get the gold. I'm going to get all of the nuances and why and how, and this is how he got it.
Yeah, brother. Couple of things in there. I think what you said about the whole thing of fast tracking, like the way you're able to fast track with people that are so experienced in their fields. And then I think of, up leveling that to working with them one on one. And then they're
Mm,
actually tailoring that specific knowledge to your specific story and delving on all of their experiences. Let's say someone like, I guess I'll use myself for an example.
mm.
Like I started teaching when I was 15, flat out, like 50 to 100 students a week. It was insane. And we did that, for years and years and years, and kept studying, honing my craft. So the ability that I have to shape the information that I have a wealth of knowledge on, also for the specific student, is
Mm,
incredible, I feel, because I'm taking in not only the information, but the way that they're interpreting knowledge is actually almost more of a priority of what I'm going to share with them than sharing what I know, because I can shape that knowledge in so many ways. And
mm,
then that leads me to what I'm creating now with these courses. And for anyone out there that's thinking about doing courses with someone in whatever field, definitely my advice is maybe to look at someone that's got that experience in that field and has done years and years and years, ideally, of teaching in that field, maybe, because I feel like, these courses that I've created now, they're, without teaching those 10,000 students plus, obviously what I've created in these courses would not be of that level. And I feel like I've got it in a way that it's getting it across to the masses in a way that's so direct, and all the flip flop is cut out. It's just so direct and so to the point and so potent that it's almost like working one on one with me, at least for that first 6 week period, because I've covered all bases. That's why I feel, anyway. Saying that,
yeah.
there's also a lot of potency in working with someone that's only been in their field often for 6 or 12 months. It'll align with you as it should. But for me, I'm definitely looking for experience. The older I get, I'm
Mm,
generally willing to, the price point of working with someone is not as important as getting that right person to work with, that's done the time, that's taught the 10,000 students, that's done the 10,000 hours in that field, and has done it in all the modalities that field is possibly offered in. And
mm.
that's priceless.
It reminds me of a story. I went to an acupuncturist once, and he was close on, I swear, close on 90. And I swear he's forgotten more than most people learn.
Mm,
What he knew about acupuncture was mind blowing. What he could solve with some of the tools I've never even seen before. And you just can't beat experience because, like with you, I know that you hear me play a chord. You can even tell where my finger is on the fretboard.
mm,
And it's like we're talking millimeters. You're like, you're going to move your finger up a little bit more. It's like this much,
yeah.
So it's that experience you can't really beat.
It's funny, when I'm teaching it online these days, often I can see their hands, but a lot of the time, I'll say I need to see your hand if I need to, but usually I can hear it. I can hear where the hand is, not just on the fretboard, but I can hear where the thumb is positioned on the back of the neck. I can hear
Yep.
where the thumb
Yep.
is position to the index finger and the pinky, because it's all there. But anyway, crazy.
Yeah.
Brother, you're next.
He's a good one. I'm going to jump the list a little bit. Um, so many people, I see this so often in business. There is no way to pay you. If I want to pay you, you need to make it so easy. Like I can't go looking for that. And so if you want to scale your business, make sure you have a pathway for money to get to you.
Mm,
So many people don't. Like they
yeah,
fumble around and they go, "Oh, here's my bank." No, no, no. You need a link these days. PayPal does that with a link. You've got Stripe. You've got all the things. There's payment gateways. There's all the things.
yeah,
Make it easy for money to get to you because it's trying. You're the
definitely.
block.
Definitely. I'm going to take that on board for you, brother, with me and you, because we always forget that. But anyway, I'm like, yeah, I'm terrible at that. But yes, I need to take that on board
Yes.
myself, bro. Thank you.
Mm, yeah.
Um, so balancing, for me, next one, balancing is a priority. So balance of family, love, business, all the things. But just to go on a little bit more with that, um, owning it. If you're committing to work for a month or 2 months and that's going to be the priority, then prioritize it. If you're going to commit to the relationship, for that time or endlessly or whatever your thing is, own it to the best of your ability. And I think that's really, really important. Balance.
Absolutely, because that way you can set healthy boundaries around that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Um, you, brother, next one?
Scaling your business. How can we scale your business quickly? Or if if the world was going to come to an end and you lost your phone and you had to start all over again, how would you scale your business?
Yep.
Um, the world we live in today is on social media.
Yeah.
So that I think that requires um, a level of strategic partnership. So if I had to move quickly, I would align myself with someone who already has a client base. Let's say I lost all my social media, I lost all of I did become no one overnight, and no one knew who I was. I would connect with someone with an audience and leverage their audience.
Yeah.
So in this sense, how do we do that now? Well, that's called strategic partnerships. And so, as an example, um, I could align with someone who works with just men,
Mm.
but they maybe work with them in a different way. Maybe they work with them in a fitness aspect. Well, I could align with them and say, I'll do your mindset. I'll come in and be a keynote speaker at your next retreat or at your next online event.
Yeah.
And my fee could be that I get to pitch to the guys that, hey, there's also this option. You can work with me as well. So I'll do it for free. However, my fee is I get to pitch to your audience and I can sell to them on stage.
Yes. 100%. Yep, and you can get so expansive with those things as they unfold, either generically or intentionally. It's amazing, but keeping that in the field of those possibilities of networking and being really cool. Like people like hanging out with the cool people. I was used to say when I was putting a band together to go on tour, you tried touring the world with a band, you're generally going to take the cooler dude over the guy that can rip it on the guitar. It's like, do I want the guy that's the most amazing musician on the planet that's an asshole, or do I want the guy that's kind of pretty awesome at guitar but is so
But
much fun
great
to
to
hang
hang
out
around.
with?
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so be cool, everyone. Be
Be
cool.
cool, everyone. Point number,
Um,
whatever. Be cool.
that's right. Um, my final one is being gentle to yourself. You will fail. You will compare yourself to others, and it's okay. But stay on track. Stay on track, and
Mm.
put the things in place that you need to stay on track. But be gentle to yourself to the best of your ability. Those things serve as potent reminders and potent stabs in the heart that give us that ability to step more deeply into service for ourselves and for others. So just stay on track to the best of your ability.
Love that. And I love that last point. I think if people remember that they're actually here to be of loving service, I think that removes a lot of the pressure.
Yeah.
As opposed to I'm not enough or I'm not good enough or I haven't done enough or I'm not earning enough or I'm not anything, insert whatever enough. When we realize we're here to be of loving service and to contribute to the greater good, the impact on one person is sometimes enough.
Yeah.
And can we just remember that, hey, you know what? Everything I do is to be of greater service. It can just loosen that pressure.
100%. Yeah, it's so easy. And,
Mm.
and I think that's something that, I see a lot with the social media thing. I think we've had this chat before, and I guess everyone probably knows it. But like you said, the vibration of, say, a podcast or something compared to, say, social media, I feel it's becoming clearer and clearer, that vibration. Not that you're not going to see some things that are going to, inspire you, but it's often to compare yourself
Mm.
and your flaws in those things in social media compared to, say, podcasts or something like that.
I like to filter my social media. So I have a favorites list
Yeah.
and I only look at the favorites list. And that's
Great.
not to say that other people are not amazing and they're not beautiful, but I filter the content that comes in because, like food, you are what you eat.
Mm,
Well, with information, you are what you consume. And so I follow people that tend to get online and provide me with the insights that I'm looking for. And there's very little um, cannon fodder, very little mind dumping of just meaningless things. These men and women are actually imparting knowledge in every post. I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, wow, okay, I'm not doing that, or thank you, and this. And so that's beautiful education for me. Um,
Beautiful, brother. Do you have a final thing?
last one. Last one is know your numbers.
Nice.
So many people are afraid to look at their bank account or their numbers or their leads or their conversion rates or their cost per lead. Some people don't even know what I'm talking about. um, and that is your greatest driver. That will actually scale your business because you look at it and go, I need more,
Mm,
or inspired by the great week that you had. If you're normally getting one or two leads and this week was 18, you're like, what did I do this week that was so out of the ordinary to get me 18 leads? Let's do more of that because clearly that's working. And then you can see the bottlenecks. You can go, okay, well, I had 18 leads, but only got 2 appointments. There's a red flag.
yeah.
I should have at least a 50% conversion on that. So from 18 leads down to 9 appointments, down to hopefully four, maybe 2 or 4 sales.
Mm,
And there's mathematics around each one of these. Basically, there's a low buying threshold for everyone in your audience. There's about 20% of your audience, whoever watches you closely and follows you, you have a 20% low buying threshold audience that you could hold up a yellow post-it note and they're like, I'll buy that. There's 20% of you people like that, and you're just not offering it to them.
yeah.
Um, so start selling post-it notes is the cue. No.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so we just need to look at our numbers. We have to be very clear on them. We have to not beat ourselves up, very much like your last point. Be gentle on the numbers and just read it like a map, because numbers are not emotional. They don't lie.
Mm,
They say the most honest things in our system is that they are just numerical values and they paint a story for us.
yeah.
But whenever we don't read the roadmap, we never know where we're going to go and we'll never get to the destination we desire.
Yeah. Beautiful, brother. Amazing sharings today. That was, yeah, very potent. So, again, anyone listening, please reach out to us. You can always get us easily, socials and email and stuff like that. So, thank you, brother. So much potency. You just inspired me there, on so many levels. So, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Much love, brother. And you. Thank you, my brother.
So good. Thanks, brother.